Ooh. Hello, guys. Rook, Vune. How's the wonderful day going? Hey, Humble Cook. Oh, no problem, man. I love to spread the love around on Twitch, especially in the food and drink section. There's always so many new people that are starting to stream in their kitchen. So just gotta share the community with everyone. It's definitely not a competition. Let's get this music back in here. Yeah, there we go. Okay, guys, who is ready to cook some dinner today? So, I have our shellfish here, but we're not gonna get to that first thing because we have to make some bread. So bread is always gonna be the first thing you wanna make if you plan on making it with your dinner, because it needs usually 1 to 2 hours to make properly. And that's due to something called proofing. So it's basically the yeast eating the flour in the dough and woohoo, excreting those gases, which makes your bread fluffy and rise. So we need to wait for that to happen. And what I did this morning was I made a little starter for the French bread. And that's typically the good thing to do ahead of time. It's just gonna give your bread more structure and also more flavor. Thank you for the host, Vune. Haha, that's right, 0 bones. Completely reset everyone's bones. It was insane though. Annie was first on the leaderboard for last year. I think he had like 42,000. But we gotta make it fair and reset the whole board. You thought you get points for hosting and raids. Maybe give it a second. But it's true. That's what it says on the leaderboard page, is you get extra points for hosts. Yeah, Rook. No longer negative 10 million. Oh no, Vune. 30 gone, just like that. Okay, so this is our starter. I posted the recipe for you guys in Discord, and the recipe is from King Arthur Flour, which is one of my favorite sites to go to if I'm gonna bake bread. So it's called French Style Country Bread, which I think sounds delicious. I know I said originally I was gonna make baguettes, but I didn't look at the recipe ahead of time, and I would have had to make this starter a day before being able to mix the dough. So that's why I kind of switched up the bread. Made a quick little poulish is what this is called. Nice, Humble Cook. You now have 20 bones. That's enough to buy 1 ticket for our giveaway today, guys. And this giveaway is going until January 29th. Hello, Tom. Welcome. Welcome in. So the first thing we have to do for our bread is obviously mix up our dough. And we're going to be doing this in an electric stand mixer. Otherwise, this will take probably a good 20 minutes to half an hour to properly knead it, especially by hand. So that's a little bit more tough, but hopefully you have an electric mixer at home, like a KitchenAid of sorts, to help you do the work. So typical bread recipe has lukewarm water, yeast, sugar, flour, and salt. That's really all you need to make bread. These are things that most people have laying around in their cupboard. So for someone to say that they don't have time to make bread or it's just not convenient, not a thing. Just a little bit of pre-planning. The burger patty, the cheese, the lettuce, and the tomato. Yes. Now I want a burger. Sammy sent me a photo of his lunch today and it looked so good. Okay, so what this starter is here is water, a little bit of yeast, and both white flour and a little bit of whole wheat flour in there. And so I made this up around 10 a.m. this morning. So it's been sitting out at room temp ever since. And if we look at it, it's got some good bubbles. It's really holding together. So that's gonna help put some extra structure into our French loaf. So that's all going to get mixed into the bread dough. So it says stir down this starter because it's really bubbled up. So we need to take those bubbles out. Add the rest of the water, yeast, and sugar to it. Give it a good mix, and then we'll put that into the mixer. And then we can add our flour, and then lastly, the salt. You guys never want to add the salt at the same time as the yeast because salt is actually a yeast inhibitor. So it won't actually rise properly if you add the salt in together. So I always just wait until it's slightly mixed and then add the salt. But you definitely don't want to forget the salt either. It's definitely a key component to any bread recipe. I'm just gonna put this shellfish behind me because this bread is not gonna take too long to whip up. And then we'll get right into the seafood part. So I think I'm gonna switch to this cam and just do this. Ooh, it should be far enough down. I think that's all I can go with that. Let's build this up. Building the mixer. Don't need that. Definitely need the cord. Just a humble cook, yeah, brutal. You'll get used to the exponential losses. Best thing is never to gamble. Don't listen to Yoon. He just wants to win the giveaway. Okay, mixer is plugged in. We are well on our way. So you guys can start entering the giveaway whenever. Obviously, as long as you have enough bones. So I'm gonna do this for you guys in chat. Give you a little info of what started today. Little streamiversary giveaway. And that's the other thing, Vune, is no one's allowed to win all 3 of the giveaway boxes. So they all have to have different winners. Okay. The mixer is now set up for bread. Hopefully you get a good enough view into there. Okay, back to our recipe. So I always do baking recipes in grams, and that's why I really love the King Arthur site, is because you have the choice between volume, ounces, and grams. So I always choose grams just because it is the most precise, and you definitely want that when making bread. So stir down the starter. Let's grab out the yeast, the sugar, the flour, and the salt. Yeast, sugar, flour. Did everyone have a good day today so far? I've had a pretty relaxing day. Got a lot of computer work done though, I have to say. Good things coming up. Hey, anchovy. How are ya? So right now we're about to mix up the French bread dough that we're gonna bake off later to use for dipping into our mussel and clam broth. which is actually a Thai green curry style of broth tonight. Kind of clearing out the freezer. So we need, so I have this recipe, so I need 113 grams of lukewarm water. This is really important, as you don't want your water too hot because it'll kill the yeast, and you don't want it too cold because then your yeast won't actually wake up and do its job. So a good temperature to keep in mind for this, something anywhere between 85 Fahrenheit and 95 Fahrenheit. And if you don't have a thermometer, basically the temperature of the water, the feel of it, is it shouldn't feel neither hot or cold. Just kind of room temp. So I need 113 grams. Yeah, finally got your onions. The best. And you can use those in any channel, just so you know. There we go. So into our starter. Along with the sugar and the yeast. So for the yeast, it says 3/4 of a teaspoon, but we are gonna have that. Yeah, one person cannot win all 3 prizes. Exactly, Vune. Because that's just not fair. Oh no, what is going on? What a coincidence. Okay, sounds good, Rook. We'll be here. And then the sugar. So 14 grams, aka we need 7. What a coincidence. We have 3 of the barred vunes. Yeah, legit. I don't know if the world is ready for more than one though. So Vune, I'll ask you this. Does this mean we can bring back the hashtag blame Vune? Because we have 2 other Vunes to blame now. This could work out well. Okay, let's stir this up. And then we're gonna transfer it into the mixer. But we just wanna loosen up our starter with the water and also add in the yeast and the sugar so the yeast can start to eat the sugars and get activated. Vune is innocent. Oh no. Okay. Vune is innocent. You guys heard it. 2019. No longer blaming Vune. Okay, there we go. That looks pretty good. So you can see how the starter is like a little bit gluey. I'm gonna try and raise the camera up for you guys. Actually, I don't think I can raise it anymore. This might be an issue as far as you guys seeing into the mixing bowl. I'll see what I can do. Might be able to stack some cookbooks underneath or something. Yeah, you can time out yourself, exactly. Okay, so now we need the rest of our flour. So, because it's more humid here, think we would want a higher amount of flour. So it says 447 grams to 482. And we're doing half the recipe, so let's keep that in mind. But because it's more humid, I think we'll need more flour. So let's roll with like 230 grams of flour and see how it mixes up. And it says to use bread flour, which I don't have, guys, so I'm just using all-purpose. We'll see how it works. Bread flour has more gluten in it. That's the only thing. So we just really have to make sure that we mix this long enough so that the gluten develops properly, because we're not using the right flour. Things you gotta keep in mind. Okay, that is 234. I'm good with that. Great alternative. Yeah, I don't know how it would work mixing up bread dough though. Because you need the gluten, so I don't think almond flour would be a good substitute for making bread. I think it would just kind of fall apart. That's my thoughts on it though. I don't really know because I've never done it. So I'm gonna do 1.5 teaspoons of salt, guys. Now that you guys can see the dough is starting to get mixed, I'm gonna sprinkle that in here. This is a 1/2 teaspoon measure. Actually looking good. We are looking good. Anchovy, have you ever made bread with almond flour? And the other cool thing today with the bread, guys, is that we actually get to proof the bread in the dehydrator. So that's another use of a dehydrator. So it's not just used for drying out everything. So I looked it up in the book that came with the dehydrator, the Excalibur, and it says raising bread. So the perfect environment for raising bread exists right in your dehydrator. Remove the trays from the dehydrator, set the thermostat at 115F or 46C, and allow the unit to preheat. Place a shallow pan of water on the bottom of the dehydrator. Insert a tray directly above the water and place the bowl of dough on the tray. Cover the dough with a cloth to keep it from drying out. Allow the dough half to 1 hour of time to rise. When it has risen, continue with preparation according to recipe. So 115 Fahrenheit. So I'm going to start to preheat the dehydrator now so that it should be warm by the time the dough is done mixing. Looks like it needs a little bit of help. I'm going to do this. And I'm using the dough hook attachment, obviously, in this mixer. And we're going to mix this dough until it's really nice and smooth on the outside. So this machine is called an Encarcerum mixer. And I got it from a kitchen supply or restaurant supply store. And it is seriously the best thing ever, I have to say. Compared to a KitchenAid, there is no comparison. Okay, let me do this dehydrator side, guys, while we wait. So 115. I'm actually going to go even a little bit lower. Maybe 110. Look it! Dried lemons. It worked so good. And then this, the dried pepper paste. We'll get into that in a little bit. You've never seen it before. Yeah, I never saw it until one of my reps showed it to me. It is life-changing, I have to say. It's worth the extra money, in my mind, and I believe it comes with a 10-year warranty on it. The price difference between white flour and almond flour is 3,000%. Yep. Yeah, nuts are not cheap. Okay, so this looks like it's getting very close to being done. See how it's starting to hold its shape more? Get really elasticy. Yay, Rook! Usually everything's always better after an update, hey? The lemons look good, hey? It almost looks like stained glass. Show them up a little bit closer once we're done mixing our dough. Pretty good. So this is going to be something that's going to be in the giveaway in one of the boxes, is some of these lemons. So I'm going to vacuum pack them for you guys. I kind of want to stick them in a pot for gold. They can be done for just looks. Nice view. Buying the ticket. Okay, let's see this. Ooh, it feels good. You can see the stretch on the dough, hey guys? But let's do a little test. So the way to test if your bread dough has been mixed enough is called the window test. So you take a little piece of your dough and you keep stretching it thinner and thinner in the center until you can see through it like a window. So you guys can see through that, right? and it just kind of starts to break. So that means that we've mixed enough gluten into there. I'm gonna go maybe 2 more minutes on a higher speed just to really make sure that it's been mixed well, but other than that, we're definitely there. First ticket, yeah, the lucky one. So the starter sat from 10 a.m. until, what, 5:15? So almost 8 hours. It said you need minimum 2 hours for it. But the longer you let it sit, the more flavor it's going to develop. And then the best way to do it is actually overnight. You leave it out. So usually like 12 hours max, because by that time the starter would have eaten all the sugars from both the flour and the yeast, and you'd have to feed it again anyways. So you can't push a starter too long if you leave it out at room temp. Got our ball of dough. You tried making bread once. If you made 2,000 more of these, you could have built a house. Turned out like a brick. Was as hard as one too. Oh no, Vune. Hey, Rush. Yeah, it's totally been a while. How are you? Welcome in. Happy New Year as well to you and the fam. Yeah, nuclear dough generator. Exactly, Rook. So now we can take our spatula out. Give it a nice little scrape. Make sure you don't have any excess dough stuck on. And our arms are still intact. They're not gonna fall off from trying to knead this with pure muscle power. And honestly, these electric mixers are one of the best things to have around the house if you like to bake and make bread. It just saves you so much time and effort. You can see the stretch of the dough, guys, as I'm taking this off, hey? Really built up some gluten, so that's a good sign. You gotta get you one of these. Do it, anchovy. Like I said, I know it's a little bit more expensive than KitchenAid, but in my mind, it's worth it. Especially with the warranty on it. Like, we cracked one of our bowls already by accident making cookie dough. It was just too thick. And they're gonna send us a new bowl for free. Because it's part of the warranty. So if you look at this now, all I'm doing is just trying to get a nice little ball of dough together in the center of the bowl. So that looks good to me. And the bowl's nice and clean too, so that's another sign that we've mixed our dough enough. When it starts to pull away from the sides and there's nothing left, you are well on your way to making a nice bread. And then the best thing about this, that's my favorite, is the bowl comes with a lid. So it's basically built for proofing inside this. And that way it's not gonna dry out. So now this is gonna go into our dehydrator. I'm gonna check it in probably about 45 minutes from now, just because I'm not familiar with doing the proofing process in the dehydrator, so I don't want to go too long and have it be too hot. So I'd rather check it earlier rather than later, just to be sure. You laughed out loud, Via. Okay, so let's come back over here. Fix what I did to this camera. We did it for the bread, guys. We did it for the bread. I think that's good. A little bit sideways, hey? Straighten it out, Kate. Good. Okay. The bread baby going into the dehydrator. We'll see it in 45 minutes. Phew. But can you bake bread for me? And then I'm also just sticking a little container of water on a tray above that, just to make sure that it doesn't dry out too much. Okay, so 45-minute timer. And then the next step for the recipe. So now we have to let it rise until it's almost doubled the size. So kind of you have to keep in mind how big your ball of dough was when you first put it into proofing. So we want it double that size. And then after that, we're gonna deflate the dough. And sorry, one quick note of the proofing. So obviously you want a nice warm spot in your house. Your dough will take a really long time to proof if it's in a cold spot in your house. And another way to build a nice little proofing chamber is just to kind of heat your oven up to around 100 degrees Fahrenheit on the inside. So I like to just kind of press preheat to 300, let's say. And then kind of cancel it after a couple minutes so it just gets warm. And then you can put your bread in, or the bread dough in, covered with plastic or a tea towel so it doesn't dry out. So that will help. So anywhere from 1 to 2 hours proofing time. Because we are controlling the temperature of the proofing now, it's not going to take as long. So it should be done within an hour. Yeah, a face to the voice. Making brick bread is easy. The last time you tried baking bread, you were 11? Oh, Vune. I'm sure you've improved a lot since then. Rush work is going really well, I have to say. Really enjoying spending time there, and I get to cook for a lot of awesome people that really appreciate the effort that's being put into every dish on the menu. So that is something that I was searching for a long time cooking in kitchens. Is it's one thing to like put your heart and soul into the food and be happy with how the food turns out, but if your customer doesn't appreciate it, you're just not gonna get that full good feel from the job that you're doing. So feels good. Yes, butter tarts, Vune. That has to be made soon. I got a whole stack of tart shells. Okay, so bread is proofing 1 hour. That means we have 1 hour to mess around. Now, we'll go over the dehydrator stuff, try and blitz up that pepper paste that we dried out. And then when that hour's up, we have to gently deflate the dough, but don't take all the air out of it. We're gonna form one loaf, one nice round loaf. So I'll show you guys how to shape the loaf to get it ready for baking as well. And then it says we're actually baking it on just a parchment lined baking sheet with some semolina flour. And then they bake, oh sorry, the bread will rise again, until it's only about 50% larger. So about 45 minutes it says. Once again, we can go on the lower side of timing because we can put it back into the dehydrator. And then we preheat our oven to 475 Fahrenheit. So that's the thing with a lot of French breads is you need a really high oven heat for it. And then as soon as we put the bread in the oven, we reduce it to 425. So you initially want the oven hot just so it doesn't cool down that much when you put your dough in. It's not gonna be at around the same temp, right? So it's gonna bring that temp down. And then we only bake it for about 25 to 30 minutes until it's golden brown. Sounds easy enough. I'm ready for this. Anchovy. You've never had butter tarts? Oh my goodness. Rook, you threw away a ton of stuff in the kitchen this week. About to get a bunch of new pots, pans, and knives. Ooh, got those upgrades, man. That must feel so good. Even every now and then I do a little bit of a purge too. So Rook, did you end up getting that fancy thermometer in yet? Okay guys, check out the lemons that we dried yesterday. So that was 16 hours at 130 Fahrenheit was the setting, but they're literally like stained glass. There's not much of an aroma, I have to say, from them, but they did smell really good as they were drying out. So now these, I looked up some uses of dried lemon, obviously. There's no point in making it if you're not going to use it. So a lot of people like to put them in tea, or like Vune said, you can put it in a potpourri, but it wouldn't do too much in a potpourri because it doesn't smell much, right? And then the other thing you can do is maybe put it into some stocks or soups for a little bit of acid. Or even something like a tomato sauce, I think that would work because tomatoes are really sweet. Well, thanks, Anchovy. Yeah, that is like the best spot for those knives, and having them on a magnet rack is, they're always ready to take out. Rook, you just got the thermometer in today. Yes. Oh, keep us updated, man. So those are the lemons. Nicely dried. Really easy process, and I like how they still kept their nice yellow color as well. And then there's our pepper paste that we smoothed out on the sheet. So you can see how it's peeling up. So our next step here is to peel all of that off. And then I'm gonna put it into the Vitamix dry container, and we're gonna try and blend it up to make a nice spice powder. And this is so good. So Sam and I tried it last night before we went to bed. It's got a nice smoky flavor to it, and the spice builds. It doesn't just hit you in the face with like a strong spicy flavor. It starts to slowly build in your palate. And I have to say, it wasn't super hot either. It wasn't overwhelming. So I think it would be something really good to kind of rub onto meats and stuff like that, or even vegetables for that matter. And this is going to be another thing that I'm going to be putting into one of the giveaway boxes. So I told you guys that I was going to put some of the dehydrator stuff in, and we're sticking to it. You wanted to let it charge for a few hours first. Oh, I bet, yeah, it has to charge, hey? Interesting, man. So let's do some peeling. It should come off relatively easily. We'll see. We'll see if this was the best way to do this. Basically, just kind of crinkle the plastic mesh, and this all should kind of come out. So you get these thin little pieces like that. This would also be really good to garnish, let's say, a Bloody Mary with, or a Caesar, a drink. But yeah, a dried rub, in my opinion, was probably the best thing. I'm gonna take that tray out. Get out of here. So all this is anchovy. So this summer I grew 5 different types of peppers in my garden. And then I blended them up and fermented them with a salt brine to make hot sauce. And then we blended the hot sauce up one more time and then strained it. And this is the pulp that came out of the hot sauce. And sorry, the peppers were previously smoked for a couple hours as well. And then we ended up with this, and I wanted to not waste it at all. So I thought about drying it out. And I feel like it's gonna be really good. So obviously it's a little bit time consuming to try and get it off of this. But in my mind, still worth it. Gotta head out for work. Sounds good, Rush. Hope you have a wonderful day at work. It was great to see you around still. The shatter, yeah. What happened to the shatter? Well, I'm just gonna try to take off enough so that we can blend some of it up. And then I'll work on the rest after stream. We gotta do some dinner stuff still too. Just thought I would show you guys this since we prepped it up yesterday. You deserve to see. Roll it up. Roll it up and smoke it. That's what you're saying, Bune? How to clear out your lungs 101. Smoky pepper paste. I'm sure that would not feel that good. Roll it to break it, he says. Let us see. Give it a little squeeze. Is the man a genius? I don't know if that helps. She's like really stuck in there, man. But that was a good suggestion. Oh, okay, so the spice is actually tingling my nose right now. Oh, a sneeze is building. Ooh, excuse me. Whoa. Clearing out the sinuses. Thank you, View. So now, Vitamix dry container. I'm sure this is gonna get worse for sneezing once I start to actually blend this up. So I think the key is to not stick your nose into there right after you blend it. Whew, it's choking me out. Okay, let's go over to the blender. Let's see what happens. It worked. You'll take care of it, anchovy? So there we go, guys. Just a little bit of powder in there. I'm gonna stand back. I'm gonna let the pepper dust settle, because literally there's dust particles coming out of there. Whew! We might need a mask for this. Stronger than I thought. So there we go. Let's get a spoon. You don't know how hard talking is right now. Literally being choked by the peppers. Trying not to die. So it is nice and fine, as you can see as I spill it. Obviously, there's a good amount of heat to it. So don't be too generous. Ooh, missed it with some lime juice. It'd be a good garnish for guacamole for sure. Okay, so I'm gonna come back to that later. Probably not on stream, but now you guys know what I'm working on. And that's gonna be something that's gonna be packaged up and sent out in one of the giveaway boxes. Just gonna put the lid back on there. How to kill Kate. Yeah, exactly, Vune. You still get the smoky flavor as well. So it's really, really nice. So it'd probably add a super good, like, meaty component if you dressed it with vegetables or something. Okay. We will survive. Okay, so next up, since the bread dough's made and proofing for the next half an hour, it's time to start rinsing our clams and scrubbing up some mussels. So onto the shellfish. So when does the giveaway box event occur? Here you go, anchovy. So here is seafood. So mussels, clams packed in ice overnight in the fridge. And you want it in something with holes so that they don't sit in the water, because they're actually excreting stuff as they're in the ice. So you don't want them to sit in their, let's say, dirty, poopy water. That's a thing. So you want to make sure that water can drain out and that they won't be in that. So that's how you should properly pack your clams, mussels, oysters, etc. I'm going to try and dig these out. I'm going to get a sheet pan. And also maybe a bowl. Maybe a bowl of sorts. Oh. And these are 1.5 pound bags of shellfish. And I think Sammy said this costs around $23. $23, guys, for all this. So we have 4.5 pounds worth of seafood here. I doubt you would be able to get that much for that price in any restaurant. Still coughing. J. Kim's with the tier 1 sub. Welcome in. Thank you very much. Hope you enjoy your stay here. Okay, so our little clammies, let's open them up. And we're just gonna quickly go through them before we start to rinse them in the sink. So reason for rinsing them, obviously clams, let's say, grow or live in sand. So there's always a lot of sand inside the shell and on the outside. And that is why you have to rinse them a good couple of times before you cook them to get all that sand out, because you don't want that going into your broth. Eating sand, not super enjoyable. And then whenever you're buying fresh shellfish, you always have to go through it and make sure that it's all alive. So this one right here, I can tell right now that it's open like that, it's dead. So we're gonna throw that out. Definitely don't want to eat anything that's dead. But the rest of them, as long as they're all completely closed, we're good to go. Anything that's open like that, and then if you test it, so the way to test it, if it's open, just give it a squeeze. If it squeezes back closed, you're okay. If it stays open, she's a goner. But look, we only lost the 1 clam out of that. That's not bad at all. Thanks, J. Kim's. Means a lot. It really does. So now we will put all of our little clammies into this bowl. And these are little necks. And the difference between clams and mussels is that the clam shell weighs a lot more than the mussel. And that is why they're a little bit less expensive than the mussel, is because your yield of the meat inside is not as much as the mussel is. So now this is gonna go under cold running water, and you just want a nice slow stream of water going over these for, let's say, about 15 minutes at a time. And then you're going to take them out, obviously dump out whatever is in the bowl, because all the sand's going to be at the bottom of the bowl, so you don't really want to agitate it too much. And then we'll do another rinse and see if the water is nice and clean after that. Yeah, R.I.P. clam, Rachel, exactly. Hey Nike, how are you? There's that, and now mussel time. Time to sift through them. Rachel, how's it going? So now mussels. These are grown on a nearby island here on the west coast of Canada called Salt Spring Island. It's basically where most mussels are grown. Salt Spring Island mussels, plump and sweet, and they actually are really nice and sweet. And if we look here, so these were processed on December 26th. It's not super fresh, so we'll see how the quality is. But I always find that you have to throw out more mussels than clams usually. And the mussel shell is a lot more delicate too, so it can get crushed easily. So you might find some shells that are crushed. You don't want those either. On mussel trees. Yeah, exactly, Strikeman. You love Salt Spring. Yeah, me too. I have not been in maybe 6, 7 years now, if I can think about it. I've been wanting to get out there again, though. Last night you passed out in bed watching me? Yes. Woke up to Twitch still being on and you're laying on your phone. That's hilarious, Nike. I'm sure you're not the only one that's happened to. Sammy and I used to do that too a lot, actually. So, good amount of mussels here, hey guys? I got the compost over here beside me because we're gonna start sifting through. So, same thing with the mussels. If they are open, like this guy, give them a little squeeze. If it doesn't start to close up right away, that's going to be a no-go. This guy's going. He's closing up, so I know I'm okay. So we'll just put our little piles in here. That guy's good. And then obviously if it's completely closed, you're good. So this one, come on camera, focus. So this guy, if you can see right here, has a crack in its shell, so we definitely don't want that. Just gonna start throwing those out. Give this guy a squeeze. Nothing's going on. She's a goner. This guy's closing. that one's not. This one's really cracked. Look at that, it's like cracked in half. So basically the yield that you should be getting from your mussels is you don't want anything more than 10% waste of the weight that you purchased. If you're getting more than 10% waste, you're gonna want to talk to obviously your seafood provider and let them know what's going on. And I would actually ask for money back, honestly. Because you're not paying for stuff that's dead, right? That's not how it works. Hey, Addison, welcome in and thank you for the follow. You're watching the Titan games. Nice. I don't even know what that is. Okay, that one's not closing either. So the rest of these look pretty good. So they fit one entire tray, that's awesome. So what did I throw out? So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. That's not too bad. I'm okay with that. And so our next step is actually putting them into a pan again with water. And then we have to start scrubbing off what we call the beard. So mussels like to kind of grow this grassy-like stuff on the shell. Let's see if this will focus. Okay, still fooling around with the camera and the lighting, but let's do it this way. So we get something that looks like that on the outside of the shell. You want to scrub that off because that'll actually affect how your broth tastes in the end. And then the other thing that we have to look at is the beard. So look at this. See how they're all connected? So that's the mussel beard. And that's what holds the mussel onto whatever it's growing on. So it doesn't just get swept away at sea. So we need to take that off of there. Otherwise that's just gonna cook up and it's gonna get hard and weird. You've never actually eaten a mussel. Well, the first thing I'll say is that it shouldn't really taste too fishy. It should still taste like a little bit salty and like the ocean, but it shouldn't have this gross old fish flavor to it. And like the tag said, they are really plump when you cook them properly and juicy. Basically, it kind of just melts away in your mouth. It's a little bit chewy. Basically just the part where the mussel holds onto the shell. But it's not like a weird chewy texture like, let's say, raw octopus or something like that. So now I'm gonna fill this bin with cold water, only to just cover the mussels, and then we can start to scrub the shell. So a little bit of work involved in this, yes, but it's worth it. Everything tastes like chicken. No, I don't even think the mussel tastes like chicken. It doesn't. Today you learned mussels can grow bigger beards than you can. Yes, Vyun. Facts with Vyun. They're swimming. So you can use a sponge to do this, but I honestly just use my fingernail, and you literally just scrape that little bit of stuff off on the outside of the shell, wherever there's like little strings and barnacle looking things. Don't want that on there. And I've done this way too many times at work. So I'm pretty good at it now. And then about the beard, so this little guy here, we're not going to take those off until basically right before we plan to cook the mussel. Because basically once you take that out, the mussel is dead. So you don't want to kill the mussel, let's say, until right before you eat. So you don't want the mussel to sit there dead in its shell, right? That's going to affect the flavor. And then also, let's say if you plan to use the mussels in a couple days from now, you can pre-clean them, like what I'm doing. And then don't take the beards off once again, and they should last like a good couple of weeks if you pack them with ice really consistently. So as long as the beard's on there, your mussels should be good for minimum 1 week, up to 2, if you take good care with them. Okay, this shell is cracked as well. So I'm just gonna throw that out. Sometimes you can't even see the cracks, so going through them again like this really will help you. You really hate how the kitchen gadgets have location services on them. Yeah. Well, man, literally the world knows where you are already. There's no hiding that, for sure. Anyone that has a smartphone, you have to kind of accept that now almost. Kind of crazy, hey? The mussel has an oyster-like consistency with a sweetness like a scallop. That's a great way to describe it, Nike. Yeah, it is sweet. Sweet, plump. Really juicy and tender if you cook them right. And the way that we're gonna cook them, basically you just steam them in the broth. And they literally open up within about 30 seconds. The clams, they'll take about twice as long to cook as the mussels do, I think. So maybe more closer to a minute to get the clams to open up. So we'll put the clams in the broth first, let them just start to open, and then we'll throw the mussels in to finish cooking. Do all mussels have beards? Good question, Rachel. Most of them do. At least they should. But sometimes they already get ripped off when they're harvested. So if it doesn't have a beard, don't like freak out and be like, well, I don't know if it's good. It'll be okay as long as the mussel's closed. That's really the most important thing. And also, they should have no fishy smell to them if you're getting it fresh. Yeah, that's the world now, Rook. You click on one thing, all of these agencies know exactly what to try and sell to you. That's why the ads are always of previous stuff that you've looked at on other sites. It's crazy. Mean. Asian mussels generally don't have beards. Is this a proven fact? It is not. We'll roll with it though. Yeah, you're salty for sure. Honestly, if you want to grow a beard, you just have to start shaving more. That's how we got Sammy's beard to be how it is. Need those hairs to get thicker. But then there's no going back though. When you get to that point, like you'll always have a 5 o'clock shadow then. Beard Chronicles with Kate. This is what I have come to conclusion with. over the last 3 years of helping Sammy grow his beard. Go, go, go. So once we finish cleaning the shellfish, then we can start to roll in to the stuff that we need to prep for the broth. So I have a Thai green curry sauce that I pulled out of the freezer. It is previously made, but I did make it from scratch. So you guys let me know if you want the green curry sauce recipe, and I'll pull it up from old files and send it over your way. Because I'm not going to go through the process of making the green curry sauce today. And we are going to mix it with some coconut milk as well. And then I also have the shellfish broth that I kept from I think it was 2 weeks ago, we did mussels and clams for lunch. So I kept the remaining broth that was left in the pot after we took what we wanted. So we have that nice little flavor bomb to add in. Hopefully the broth won't need too much doctoring up after that. And then vegetables going into the broth. So I have a little bit of fennel, some nice cherry tomato that we're gonna cut in half. And then also just some mizuna, a little bit of mustard green from the garden. So nice and light kind of vegetables going into the broth. I think it would be good with potato though, if you want something a little bit more starchy as well. But I'm leaving the starch to the homemade bread today. Trying to be a little bit more health conscious. A palm sander. Ooh, that might work really well actually. I'm trying to, or I'm like imagining what you mean by that. But yeah, I have found that like green scrubbies, green sponges with the abrasive side don't even work that well on the shells. So literally just resort to kind of scraping it off by hand. That's actually a good point. Yeah, if you start to sand the shell, maybe you're gonna start to get more sand in there. And the shell underneath, so obviously there's this little black coating on it. The shell underneath goes gray, like that. So you would start to kind of sand off the black coating. I don't even know if that's what you should be doing. It might be a little bit overkill. You do bad jokes when you're tired. You're fine, Bune. We're only chilling with 16 people anyways. It's a quiet one. Quiet night. All of us together. Okay, that one is open. That little bugger. Bune, it's getting late for you, isn't it? So guys, back to work for me tomorrow for only 2 days, Friday, Saturday, and then I'm off again Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, so we'll be back together in no time. To spend a little extra time together. And then I think Tuesday stream next week is going to be a little bit IRL stream. We're going to go out for lunch and stream it, I think. And then pick up a couple things in Chinatown for our ingredients for dinner, and then come home and stream making the duck ramen together. So playing around a little bit with content these days. The ambiance, is it all right in here? We got some good ambience going on. Yeah, Vune. We are slow today. I don't know if everyone else is just on right now. I haven't checked belly. My hands are in the clams and mussels. But I'm fine with this. Nice little quiet day. It's alright. Yeah, exactly, Nike. Some people are just chilling. I have to admit, I wanted to just chill tonight. I was like, man. But then I was like, wait. It's only a stream. Plus, we get to spend time together. None of that negative, bad vibes. Yeah, exactly, Vune. We still love your puns. Yeah, now you're gonna expect me on Thursdays. No. I'll be at worky. Worky works. This one was really bunged up. Bunged up mussel shell. Scrub-a-dub-dub. Nike, when have you eaten mussels? What was the dish like? Since you were able to describe how they taste so well. Oh, that one literally squirted at me. Ah, watch out, world. And then you get some of the shells that have nothing on them. So those are like the bonus shells. So it starts to go pretty quickly once you get into a roll with cleaning them. It was the traditional Brussels mussels dish at a restaurant. Oh, yum, dude. Brussels knows how to do mussels, for sure. That was, I think, the first thing I ate for dinner when I was visiting Brussels a couple years back. Was I went out for the biggest pot of mussels. I think it took me about 2 hours to finish it all. It was huge. They had to clear my shell bowl like 4 times, I think. I think they did a beer broth with them. You've had them in paella as well. Ah, yeah. That makes sense. What's my least favorite food to prepare? I would say anything with liver in it. I don't like the smell or the flavor. That's like basically one of my only things that I'm picky with, but if I don't even have the choice, like if I'm at work, then I have to make it and just like suck it up, not be a baby. But yeah, definitely one of my least favorite things. Did they laugh at me for as much as I was eating? No, they didn't. So it must be like a regular thing. They're probably like, this girl can't eat all that. Like, I'm finishing them. I don't care how long it takes. We're almost there, guys. We have like a handful left. Yeah. Hold my beer while I crush all these mussels. You know what? Okay, so maybe it's the preparation or like how I prepare the liver. Because I don't mind fried... Actually, no, sorry, not fried chicken liver. I like fried chicken hearts. I like those. They're like chicken nuggets. But when you're like blending up the liver to make a pate or a mousse, nope. No thanks. Chicken livers and gravy. Like, I've tried liver so many times to try and like it, but I can't. I don't know why. It's just that really strong iron flavor. Can't do it. Yeah, I'm hardcore. Have I ever been or do I know any restaurants in the Duncan, Cowichan Valley area? That's your hometown. I think I stopped in Duncan once, but honestly it wasn't to eat. Like I usually pass through there on my way to somewhere else farther than that, so I think I've only eaten like crappy fast food and stuff like that. Nothing memorable. And Cowichan Valley have not gone through too often either. So yeah, sorry Rachel, I can't really give you any good places that I know of. I guess that means I have to go adventuring, hey? I mean, one of my favorite places to stop is in Coombs at this place called Goats on the Roof, and they literally have goats on the roof. They're awesome. And there's a bunch of little like food trucks, restaurants, and shops there. That is like a memorable spot for me. You've been there? Yeah, it's so much fun. I had tacos there that were really good. Some nice little Mexican food truck. Anchovy. Making you hungry. You know what? Me too. So I'm going to finish up these last 5. And then that was the timer for proofing the bread. So now we can check the ball of dough, see how it's doing. Maybe move into our next step, which is going to be shaping and then letting it proof a second time for about half an hour probably before we bake it. So lots of patience involved in making bread. Oh, there was a couple more hiding in there. Oh, don't forget about them. What's the water running for? So the water is rinsing the clams in the sink. So the clams are in a bowl. The water is rinsing over the clam to get any sand out that's either on the shell or inside of it. Turn that off for now. So now, put mussels back in here. And then after this, I'm just going to go for a really quick bathroom break. And we'll check our dough. The dough. Be right back, guys. Okay, so, yeah, grab the mussels while she's gone. No! So I'm gonna kind of fill these. Actually, no, I'm not gonna fill them with water. What I'm gonna do is pour the ice back over them so they stay nice and cool. And since they're not gonna be sitting for that much longer until we cook them, it's okay if the ice starts to kind of melt, and then we'll just take the mussels out of there later. So there's our mussels, and then let's check out our clams. Do I like octopus? I do. I really enjoy octopus. I love it grilled. Have you had it, Nike? Is the dough the dill kind? You're bad. I'm not falling for that one. clams are pretty clean. There's really not any sand at all in the bottom of the bowl. And now, here's those guys. So I'm just gonna put those on top of the mussels. Actually, I'm just gonna leave them in the bowl because we still have to take the beards off the mussels. So now this can all just be put back into the fridge so it stays nice and fresh as we prep the rest of din. I'm gonna wash my hands since we're touching raw seafood. Yes, you've had octopus. Yeah, once again, it's like a sweet and salty kind of meat, hey? Fried calamari Vune. Ooh, that's a weakness for me for sure. It's so good. Okay, let's see what's going on in this bowl. What do we got? It actually looks like it is doubled. And it did dry out a little bit. So I'll keep that in mind for next time. But look at nice little bread dough. Look at that lighting. Ooh. So now, our next step, deflate it gently, but don't knock out all the air. This will create the holes so important to French bread. For one large loaf, form the dough into a round ball. Place semolina onto a piece of parchment paper on a baking sheet, and then place the dough ball on the baking sheet, seam side down, which I'll tell you guys how to do. And then we'll cover the bread with some greased plastic wrap. Put that over it so once again it doesn't dry out, and then we'll let it rise for half an hour more, and then we can bake it. Your troll was showing. That's all right, man. There's nothing wrong. We're all right. Do that. And now some semolina, so that's going to help it not stick as it bakes. I think I still have some. Just searching in the pantry. You were so bored. I wasn't on yet. Yeah, I started late again. So semolina flour, really kind of fine grated flour, and you can use this flour to actually make pasta dough as well. We'll just put a nice sprinkling over this. Nothing too crazy. I think that's enough. Aw, thanks, anchovy. I've had some time to work on my stream in the last year. Feels good. So now we're gonna take the dough out of the bowl. Take the dough out of the bowl. And it should be pretty stuck to the bowl. So if you guys can see here how it wants to stick to that. Just a little bit more in here. There we go. And now, hopefully it's not going to be too sticky, so it's a little bit dry. There. But all I'm going to do now is kind of just keep folding the dough into itself to make this kind of seam at the bottom that eventually will kind of close up. So we're gonna keep doing this until we get a nice kind of smooth top. So we'll go a little bit more. Too many tickets. Maybe you can't buy that many at a time. I set the max amount of tickets, I think, to like 200 or something. Let's see. Oh no. I'm gonna have to check a setting on that view because that doesn't make sense. Okay, so I'm not putting this on the board because it's just gonna stick to it and I didn't want to make it messy. So we got our nice kind of smooth top of the dough ball, and then if we look underneath, there's not too much of a seam, but the seam is right there where you just kept folding under and under. Five. Okay, I'm gonna switch that up. And then I'll give you your bones back. I swear I set the limit to 200 because I was like, yeah, 5 tickets is not enough. So there we go, guys. A little dough ball. Now we're gonna just grease a little bit of plastic wrap. Otherwise it will stick to it. So I'm just gonna use some hand spray to do that. And then cover it back up. So it's not a huge ball of dough, right? And I have the recipe for that reason, is because I didn't need any extra bread laying around. So now this, I think what I want to do is actually put that back into the dehydrator. Just so it stays at the perfect temp, and we can kind of expedite how long this takes. You have 6 tickets and you can't buy any more. Okay, so I'll fool around with that after stream today. I'll redo the ticket limit. And then I'll give you those bones back so you can purchase that amount of tickets that you want. That way it's still nice and fair. Okay, so bread dough back on the screen. We'll set a half-an-hour timer, and the dehydrator is still at 110 Fahrenheit for heat. Okay. We're getting there, guys. 30 minutes. No need to give you the bones back. But didn't you already buy 1 ticket then? You bought 1 ticket. Washing up my hand. There's a little bit of dough stuck onto them. There's no way those guys got more points than you unless they won all of them on roulette. You were 3rd place. So Nike, I reset the entire leaderboard for the year. So everyone should be at pretty low amount of points. All time, yeah. Annie was first though, for sure. Okay, so let's get into prepping up the stuff for our broth for the shellfish. And we can also kind of put together the broth. So the few couple of things that I have set aside to combine, I think we can do that now, because you want your broth pretty much seasoned by the time you cook your shellfish in it. You don't want to be fooling around at the end when your shellfish is already cooked and trying to make your broth proper. So it's important to do that work ahead of time so that when the shellfish is cooked, since it only takes a minute or two, it's ready to eat right away while it's hot. I have a couple things here. The shellfish broth, so that's a nice dark color you guys can see. And that was a broth done with a beer, so a lager. And then Thai green curry sauce, which was put away in the freezer, and then some coconut milk to bring it all together. And then I also have this piece of fennel that we can chop up to go in, as well as the tomatoes and the greens. But first, I think we should combine all three of these into a pot and get it heating up so that we can kind of get an idea of how this is all going to taste together. Am I using any wine? I wasn't planning on it. I might put in a can of beer again though, maybe. Something cheap, maybe a Budweiser of sorts. Because I like the way that the beer tastes with the shellfish when it gets cooked. And we will need just a touch more liquid, I think. So you're gonna want, obviously, a pot big enough to cook the mussels in. Because we're gonna cook the clams first. I think I'll take them out when they're done and then cook the mussels all at once so it cooks evenly. So going into here, see if I can get a little prop up for you guys. So you can actually see when I pour stuff into there. Will it stay? Oh, maybe. It might. Yeah, guys. Get that gambling going. It smells so good. It's a bit past your bedtime. I'm sure it is. Good night, Vune. Thanks for being here since the beginning. Great to spend time with you, and maybe I will see you on Sunday morning for brunch. So that was our shellfish broth. And now our green curry, I'm just gonna mix up. And we're probably going to have leftover broth from this again. So literally just refreeze that for something else the next time. When you keep cooking it like this, it's totally okay to freeze it. Sammy. We got a wild Sammy in here. Rachel, you're losing all your bones. So you will make 20 bones every 20 minutes by watching the stream. And then you can get more by giving bits or donating, as well as hosting and subscribing. Sammy's, he's pooping. And this is what the bones can be used for. Yeah, it comes in and just steals Rach's thunder. So, some nice coconut milk. There you go. Not a fan of the thermometer. Reception is horrible. Oh no, Rook. This is some really thick coconut milk, guys. That's when you know it's good. Like, how far away are you, Rook, and it's not working? I thought it said, like, how many feet was it able to work up to? Like 75? No, 25? Some things are just not made properly, but you don't know unless you try, right? The good thing is returning stuff is pretty easy these days. Okay, so there's that stuff. All of the things into the pot. I'm gonna grab a can of beer. But let's go over to the stove and get this going first. Get it heating up. He's icy. Icy in Texas. So a nice medium heat. You don't have to go too crazy because we're not cooking straight away. And with that being said, we will start to cook in about maybe an hour from now or so. Maybe even sooner, depending on how things go. So let me go grab that beer, and then we'll keep prepping the rest of dinner. Oh, thanks, Rachel. Yeah, we got a nice new stove cam. 165 feet, and you're only about 15 feet away and it's not working. Maybe you have a lemon. You never know. Hey guys, because curry and beer is always a good combo, is you can find beer literally everywhere in Thailand. Like, I would always buy the beer from 7-Eleven because it was cheap. So beer and curry, always great, especially green curry. It's gonna be nice and light. Oh yeah, I wonder if the elements are red. Let's check. Beer's been cracked. Cheers, guys. I guess it is Thirsty Thursday, isn't it? Do we pour a drink? Do we go there? Okay, I'm gonna pour this whole can into the pot. Actually, I'm gonna go halfsies. And it's also not cold, so please don't ask me to drink it. Okay, just give that a little whisk together. Smells good. And then once this is warm, we can taste it. See if we need to kind of bump up any curry flavor. But we will be chopping up fresh cilantro and scallion to put into the broth. So that's gonna add some nice fresh flavor for our curry as well. Okay, you guys want to see the elements? Let's see. Is it going to be red or blue? It's red! No! We like the blue. You farted, yes. Farting. Nike with the farts. Okay, so we're making the broth. We have rinsed our clams, scrubbed our mussels. We still have to take the beards off. So next up, let's have our tomatoes, because I'm also going to be putting some of the tomato into the dehydrator today. So we are making like a dried cherry tomato that's dressed with garlic and herbs. And then you can throw that into like sauces and stuff or salad as well. It's getting late for you. Okay, anchovy. Tomorrow's another day. It's true. I'll be back on Sunday. Have a wonderful night. Take care. So let's start with our tomatoes so we can kind of get those marinating with the other flavors. And then we can work into our fennel and the greens and our herbs. And we have 18 minutes until the timer goes off for our bread dough. So these tomatoes are amazing. The variety is called Hot 100. So they grow super perfect in these nice little rows on the vine. And I'm pretty lucky to be up here in Canada and to be able to get these grown locally at this time of year. So obviously they're grown in a greenhouse. Yeah, they are almost too perfect, Rachel. The first time that I bought these, I had to look them up to make sure that they weren't like GMO crap. And these have been sitting out for about 2 weeks now. So they're just starting to wrinkle. But I never put tomatoes in the fridge, even in the winter. As soon as you put them in the fridge, the flavor changes instantly. So always keep them out, and then this is going to be a good way for you guys to preserve them if you ever feel like you can't use them all up at once. So let's take them all off the vine, and then we will halve them. Mince up some garlic. I will try to go and pick some fresh thyme from outside. Hopefully the weather's not too crappy, but it's been raining all day here, guys, like non-stop. I actually had a rainfall warning. Do I get everything organic? No, I wouldn't say everything I get is organic, but I definitely try to shop local and organic as much as possible. Obviously, it's always going to be more expensive, so you kind of have to make that decision. If I was to kind of gauge how much organic stuff I buy and local, I would say I try to do like 70%. And then the other 30 is literally just stuff that you can't find organic. But it's getting easier and easier to find organic food, and also food that is grown properly and not GMO. Okay, let's get into here. I just gotta make sure I keep an eye on the broth as well. Okay, that's a little bit hard to cut through, so I'm gonna put this knife on the steel first. Sharpen it up. I'll do that in there for you. Hopefully that helps, but I always find it a little bit challenging to cut tomatoes that are really ripe, where the skin is starting to wrinkle. Hopefully this helps though. Yeah, it does. Nice. And then I always cut right through the top of the stem on the tomato. And that way it kind of gets hidden. It doesn't look as bad. But the good thing about cherry tomatoes, or even grape tomatoes, is you don't have to cut that part out where it was attached to the vine. But any larger tomato, like let's say a Roma or a hot house, you usually have to cut that stem part out because it gets really tough and the tomato gets bigger. So no waste here. And so after these tomatoes are dried, I'm gonna pack them in olive oil to help them to not dry out as much. But that's a step that you don't have to take. You could also just have the dried tomatoes and then rehydrate them whenever you want to use them. Because if you're going to put it in the oil, it's going to have to be kept in the fridge. That's the only issue. There's always a risk of botulism when people make oil infusion, so that's something that I want you to be aware of. But keeping it in the fridge will inhibit that to happen. So let's get a bowl. Now I'll put our tomatoes into the bowl. And then the other good thing about using cherry tomatoes for drying is that when you cut them in half, if you put them cut side up in the dehydrator, all of the seed and the pulp that's in there is just going to concentrate. It's not going to fall out. If you were to flip it cut side down, that would all kind of just leach out and get dried out. But the key is to leave the tomato cut side up, and then that flavor is just going to concentrate instead of running out everywhere. Let's grab some garlic. I think I'm going to go with 2 cloves. Let's do it. Going heavy on the garlic. Cloves aren't that big, but they are potent. They are potent. And you always want to make sure there's a good balance between the tomato flavor and the garlic, because garlic is quite strong, right? You can easily overpower it with that flavor. So we're going to mince up the garlic with just a garlic press. That way it's really nice and finely minced, and it can mix throughout the tomatoes. One, two. Do one final press. Boom. And now we're gonna want a good amount of salt and pepper in there. You wanna pre-season your tomato before you dry it. And also the salt's gonna help draw out moisture as well. So a good couple cracks of pepper. What was that, 8? And then maybe a tablespoon worth of salt to start. And then we'll taste it in a little bit once it's all mixed. I'm just gonna quickly go snip some thyme from outside. So hold tight, guys. I'll be back in about 20 seconds. joking about that rain warning. Okay, nice little handful of herbs. We're just gonna pick the thyme leaves off of the stems. And I'm just gonna give this broth, the broth that's heating up, a stir. Make sure nothing's sticking to the bottom. And it is warm now. Let's give it a taste. See what's going on. Wow. I don't think we have to add too much to that, to be honest. Got a nice hint of spice still from the original green curry sauce. The coconut milk is not overpowering. And you actually do taste the beer in there as well. Got this like nice sweet and spicy and limey flavor going on. It's gonna be really good with mussels and clams. Okay, so for this thyme, I would recommend chopping it up as fine as possible, just so you can also distribute the flavor really evenly as well. Okay, I keep hearing a weird sound coming from the dehydrator, so I'm just gonna check what's going on in here. It's blowing the saran off the dough. So I'm going to take it out of there because it's just drying it out. But it looks like it's grown by about 40% already anyways. So we can just turn that off now. And we still have 6 minutes left until we can bake the bread. So in this time, why don't we preheat the oven for the bread, which the temperature we need is 475 Fahrenheit. And then as soon as we put the bread into the oven, we reduce the heat to 425 Fahrenheit. So still a nice high heat though. Okay, let's get rid of these stems. Chop up this thyme. Can't wait to start baking this bread, guys. Gonna fill the house with the most glorious smell. Nice and fine so that every little piece of tomato will have a little bit of garlic and a little bit of thyme on there. I know it's not much thyme what I picked, but the plant is kind of stunted for growth right now during the winter, so it's not a ton to choose from. But it's better than nothing still. Sure of that. So now we can mix this up, give it a taste. Should be nice, salty and sweet. And then we'll save probably half to go in to the broth with the shellfish. And then the other half we'll put into the dehydrator. So the salt is gonna draw out the moisture from the tomatoes, like I said, so there's already some liquid down there. You just wanna make sure that it's evenly mixed. Like I said, a little bit of garlic, a little bit of thyme, salt and pepper on each piece of tomato. Good hit of garlic. Not overpowering though. It's not burning my tongue or anything. But definitely need just another little pinch of salt. Wasn't quite seasoned enough. And then the other thing you have to think of is when this dries out, is it's gonna get saltier. So you definitely do not want to over salt it at this point. That's better. It's crazy how the salt, when you put it on tomato, it actually draws out more of the sweetness. Okay, so now we will get our tray. And we will start to put our tomato onto it. So I'm just going to use my hands. Yeah, salt on raw tomatoes makes it so much better, hey? And then, like I said, I'm going to want to put them all cut side up so that we don't lose any of those wonderful juices. And you also don't want them to touch. So just make nice little rows on your dehydrator tray. You could also do this in the oven though. At like a nice low temp. I think anything 200 Fahrenheit and lower is doable. And just do it on a parchment sheet. And then you get to also decide how dry you want your tomatoes. So if you want more of a sun-dried tomato type texture where it's a little bit leathery, you just have to dry the tomatoes a little bit less. Okay, we'll finish off that row, I think. Actually, maybe we'll stop there. So we have that little bit left to go into our shellfish. Maybe I'll take a couple back. Still need some stuff for dinner. Are there ovens that go under 200? I believe mine goes to 175 Fahrenheit is the lowest. Sorry, there was just a weird popping noise. Okay, that was just the timer for the bread. I guess the warm setting, yeah, that could work as well, Trueness. Then obviously if there's a convection setting, having that fan circulating the air will also help to dry it quicker. So we're going into the dehydrator. And let me just look quickly in our wonderful dehydrator guide. Yeah, sup, by the way. What's up, Trueness? And see if they say anything for tomatoes. It is like super quiet in here today. Hey guys, it's nuts. I'm okay with this, totally. Now is the time to take advantage of like one-on-one questions for sure. Okay, fruit. Well, there's no tomatoes in the fruit section. The tomatoes are in the vegetable section. Everything we've been told is a lie. So it says for the test, you want either leathery or brittle, like I said. So you can either go fully dried or semi-dried. 5 to 9 hours. Best drying at 125 Fahrenheit or 52 Celsius. So 5 to 9 hours. I'm gonna go on the lesser side and go with the 5 hours to check it at that point and see what's going on. So the bad part here, I should be able to stay up until midnight and check them at that point. So that's okay, but always kind of plan ahead for your drying time so that the dehydrator doesn't turn off while you're sleeping in the middle of the night. So 125F, 5 hours. Now that's gonna start to smell up the whole house, all of the good smells. It is a huge cutting board, Rachel. Good question. So Sammy surprised me with this the other day. It's a cutting board I've been wanting for a while now. Is the board that I used the last year on stream is actually a board made by my grandfather, who is no longer around. So I kept getting like all these cut marks in it and stuff, and just using it too much that it was starting to show the wear and tear, and I kind of want to preserve that because I'll never get another one of those. So Sammy bought me, obviously, a big enough cutting board to kind of fill up the entire area for the camera. So are you ready for this? This is how big this thing is. Ugh, it's huge. It's 2.5 inches thick. So it's basically a butcher block is what it is. And the brand, I don't think it's showed on that side, Booze Block, if you look this up. So we got this one like half price on Boxing Day. So we kind of took advantage of that. But these are supposed to be the best cutting boards around. They're made in the States by a pretty popular woodworker, let's say. And so far so good, and yes, I do oil it. So the block came with this stuff, is we opened it the opposite way. But it's called mystery oil to oil the block. And then I also had this stuff left over that I got in Vancouver with the block oil. So I just oiled it this morning once again. And that was, the last time I oiled it before that was, I think, about 3 days. Yeah, Trueness. The tomatoes will almost be like tomato gushers. Exactly. And that's a really good thing to use for garnish for a lot of stuff. Like those tomatoes in pasta, so good. But yeah, watch for pricing on this block, because honestly, this is gonna last probably the rest of my lifetime. The only thing that I need to buy now is like a non-slip little grippy mat to put under the block, because it likes to slide around really easily. That's about it. Really happy with it though, I have to say. Okay, so we've halved our tomatoes and dressed them. Couple last things that we have to do. Cut our fennel up. This guy here, it's getting a little old. So my thoughts of putting it in the broth will kind of mask it being old, and it might be a little bit dried. So putting it in a broth, it should rehydrate and obviously flavor the broth really nicely. Fennel and kind of any kind of seafood is a really good pairing to put together. And it's also pretty inexpensive too. And then we'll wash and chop the Mizuna mustard greens that will go into the broth as well. So that'll be a nice kind of crunchy, fresh component too. And then we just have to chop up some of the cilantro and green onion. And that's going to be put into the broth at the end, so it stays nice and green and you get this nice kind of fresh flavor. So currently, oven is preheating to bake our bread. There's a couple minutes left for it to get to temp. Let's check in on this first and really just get it ready to put into the oven. So you can see how it's kind of grown out of the plastic wrap that I originally put around it. So you know that it's proofed about 50% of the weight that we had when we first kind of shaped that. So it's looking good. It's actually a really nice looking dough, just like the feel of it. So what you have to do to bread like this before you bake it is you need to score the top to let the air release as it bakes. If you don't score it, loaves of bread can actually explode in the oven by having too much pressure inside, so we don't want that. So you can use a serrated knife is a really good thing for this, but I also have something called a lame, is how you say it, and that is the razor that bakers use to put the scores in their bread. So it's literally a razor blade, you guys. Be very careful. They're pretty cheap to buy online, and I invested in one because I love to bake bread at home, so I thought that was a good idea. So then you get to decide what kind of shape you want in your bread. But I think I'm just gonna keep it really, really simple and do one nice cut down the middle. And then what that's gonna do, obviously let the air escape, and then it's gonna create kind of this little kind of, it's called an ear. So the bread's gonna start to curl up where you cut it, and it's gonna let it grow even more as it bakes, if that makes sense. Hey Neo Chef, how are you? A friend of yours uses like 4 large rubber bands under his block. Ah, yeah, I could also wet a rag and put it under there as well. It's true. But I don't like the idea of having a wet rag under a wooden block because that will absorb the water, which we don't want in the block. But I do have some rubber bands, so that could help. Yeah, you could change out the razors, exactly. So it came with extra razor blades in the bag. I've had this for over a year now though and have not changed the blade. So that was our oven saying it's ready. So let's get on with this. Like I said, I'm just gonna cut one nice slice, and you want like a 45-degree angle. Same if you are using a serrated knife. If you don't have one of these, totally okay. And then you really want to make sure that you cut through. So because this dough is kind of sticky, I might have to go over it twice to kind of break that top barrier. And then the dough will pull apart a little bit. So that's pretty significant, but you'll see why we do that. And it's totally okay if it pulls apart like that. Just dropping things over here. So this is gonna go into the oven. I'm gonna set a 15-minute timer. That should be about halfway through the cook. And we'll rotate the tray so it cooks more evenly since I don't have a convection. It looks like a Nike swoosh just for you, man. And then the other instruction is to turn down the oven to 425 when we put it in. So 425, 15 minutes. We are well on our way, I think. Yeah, Neo, I am good as well. Thanks for asking. And today on Cook with Kate, we put Nike swooshes into bread. Okay, our fennel. So whenever you're serving stuff with mussels or clams, you always want to be aware of the utensils that are going to be used to eat said ingredients. So typically a spoon and or a small fork of sorts is used. So you always want your ingredients to be able to fit on the spoon. Otherwise, they're just going to be really difficult to eat. And no one should have to go through that. Hey, Sack, how are ya? Yeah, late stream today. Late Thursday night bonus stream. Last day before I go back to work for 2 days. Making some din-din. Okay, so these are the fennel fronds. We're gonna keep those since they are really nice still, and you can use those for garnish. They have a lighter, let's say more floral fennel flavor, so we'll just put those aside. And then you guys can see this top piece, definitely not looking the best. This has been in the fridge for a couple weeks now already. So we'll just say bye to that one. And then the rest of the bulb, we can just clean up. Still very much usable. So just clean up any pieces that are starting to oxidize or go brown. That looks good to me. And then I've also cut out previously, I cut out the core on the fennel, so that's gone. And that's just a hard part, kind of like a cabbage core, let's say. That doesn't really cook down that well. So does that mean try to stay within an inch for the ingredients? Yes, exactly, Trueness. So anytime you're eating something with a spoon, it has to be nice and bite-sized. And it's better if you go smaller, if you have a bunch of stuff in, let's say, a soup, so that you can get a little bit of everything in each bite. So now I think all I'm gonna do is make nice kind of thin slices through the fennel like that, and then we're gonna get these little lengthy pieces like that, and then we'll cut them down into exactly what Trueness said, like 1-inch pieces or shorter. And that way you'll get these little pieces of fennel in every spoonful of broth, if you so desire. And then it's obviously important to keep everything consistent in size because you want it all to cook evenly in the broth. You don't want big chunks and small chunks together. Then you're gonna have crunchy stuff and you're gonna have mushy stuff. So always be really careful with how you're cutting your ingredients or your food. And the bottom piece here is basically the core of the fennel as well. That's just holding those layers together. So I'm gonna get rid of that as well. But we will try to waste as little as possible. And I find that shellfish is like one of the best things to put fennel into. Such a great combination. So we can just put that, actually we can just totally put that into the bowl that has the tomatoes in it already. Because all of this is gonna go into the broth at the same time. So the tomatoes will eventually break down into the broth. Kind of fall apart a little bit. So there's that. And next up are greens. Let's put our garnish just into this little container here for later. Peeking at the bread. It looks interesting. That's all I'll say. Ooh. Found some dill in here too, guys. The dilly. took the herbs out as well. Every time you watch someone cut up veggies, you think a sausage party. Yes. No, you lost your bones. That's a funny movie, hey, Nike? I actually think of it quite often as well when I chop vegetables. The movie has ruined me. They're cutting us alive! Run! Just gonna get this handy dandy salad spinner out. Wash up some of the greens from the garden that I did not pick today. It's really bad outside today. It's like, nope, not going outside. So that is what this green looks like. I show you guys. So that's how the leaf is. It's called Mizuna. It's a mustard green, and it is the most mild mustard green out there. So it's got like a slight kind of mustardy flavor, or if you want to compare it more to like a horseradish, let's say, or even just a radish of sorts as well. But it's not really strong. There's other mustard greens that are a lot stronger and have more of a bite, let's say, or a more peppery kind of flavor. I'm more chop happy when I do. Hey, Indog, how are you? You're liking the late streams. It's pretty quiet today, I have to say, but that's all right. Get more one-on-one time together. Get to relax a bit. Giving these greens a quick rinse. We don't want any dirt or bugs in our shellfish today. Let's get spinning. How is the day in, dog? I can't believe it's Thursday already. First week of January. Already coming to an end, hey? Over halfway through. This is cool. We've never had this angle on the salad spinner yet. Now you can see its true purpose. Spin that water out of there. Yes. Let's see. Oh yeah, nice and dry. You have 13 more days. For what? Of work? You had a good day, and dog. Finish up the last of the little projects that needed to be done to get ready for a trade show. Or you're getting ready for a trade show. That's cool. What trade show? "13 more days till your birthdays." Heck yeah. The best. So now, I'm just gonna line up the greens. I think I'm gonna line up the bottom of the stems because we're gonna have to trim them up a bit. Since these were cut a couple days ago, they're turning a little bit brown, which I don't like. So I'll just trim the bottom off. And then once again, I think we'll go more like a 1/2 inch long piece of the greens. Tomorrow, most of the people will be gone from the office. Oh, on a Friday, that's gonna be peaceful. Nike 43, nice. You do not seem that age. Still got a lot of youth in you, that's good. Plus age is just a number, right? Ah, what the fuck? That's how Sam scares me. Really bad. Bad. Bad Sammy. That is like one of my greatest fears, you guys. Is like being creeped on through a window. Or being scared in the shower. Oh my god. Why are you like this?
Because you chose me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, they said all my
Real life reaction. I'm gonna have to go back and clip that. Ah! What the hell? Who's tapping on my window? Okay. We are alive.
Hey, Rod.
No one's coming here to kill me. We're alright. We'll carry on. Whew. A little bit shaky there. Just trying to chill and do my thing, hey?
Sam comes home and wrecks it all.
Thanks for that, Mikey. Too good.
Oh, that was awesome.
Well, it has been quiet in here the first part of the night until now. Yeah, got him. Yeah, he did. Got me good. Did you have a good day, Sammy?
Shadowboxing.
Ouch. Ouch. Okay, so greens prepped up. Cut about 1/2-inch pieces. Tomatoes and fennel, good to go.
Good to go.
So we have 2 minutes left on our bread in the oven. That'll be about halfway through the bake. But we can start to get our broth and our shellfish together to cook. And we're pretty much there, guys. You are soaked. It is crazy out there. I went to go pick some
There's
thyme.
so much water out there right now.
Went to go pick some thyme. Got soaked.
Do you have time for that?
Yeah, we had thyme. And then there's the herbs, so we'll chop those up quickly as well before we go any further. I'm still laughing at me getting scared. Yeah, all the rivers are overflowing. It's crazy on the island. So I'm gonna do 1 scallion because I have a little bit left over from yesterday when we chopped it up for the gnocchi. And I also found some dill, the dilly in the fridge, which is another herb that will be awesome and actually complement this. You don't want to use too much though, because dill can actually be overpowering. Even though it's delicate, it still has a strong flavor. Dill, dilly. Doggo's visiting. Not for long though. She took a smell and she's like, oh, there's nothing for me here. So herbs like this, typically 1 week-ish. And I should probably repack them. So the best way to keep herbs like this, and especially green onions that have the root, is actually kept upright in, let's say, a glass or a container with just a little bit of water in there, and that'll actually keep it really nice and fresh. Herbs don't like to be covered in plastic like this because a lot of moisture sticks around in there, and that's how it goes bad. So that was the timer for the bread. Let's check it out. Let's not waste any time. We're getting there, guys. Getting there. Look at that little loaf. It did not create the ear like I thought it would, but it's also not a sourdough, so that might be something a little different. So let's put that back in for about 10 minutes now, and we'll go from there. But it's sounding and looking, feeling good. 10 minutes left, guys. That's what that means. So here's our little bit of leftover scallion from yesterday. So we'll just add all of the other herbs into there. And we're gonna finely chop these because once again, you really want to distribute all of this flavor into your broth. So just nice thin slices. I guess I should go in the frame for you guys. We got a doggo. She can't jump up to the board anymore though, that's it. Sammy, does the dill belong in the dough?
Does the dill belong in the dough?
Yeah.
Why?
I don't know, Nike wanted me to ask you. He was making bad jokes earlier.
I don't get it. That's a reference for something. I don't understand it.
Does the dill belong in the dough?
No.
Straight up, no. It's a trap.
Because then it could be a...
Yeah.
No.
He's dying. It's a knee slapper, guys.
My hand's looking better today, guys. Look at that.
Nice.
It's getting healed. That pad was really good today.
Yeah?
Keep it moist. Moist. "42 years old and they're back jokes."
Yeah, it's Nike's birthday in 13 days.
It was Platonic's birthday today.
Yep.
Kid's 19. He's all grown up.
What did he do, Nike? He fell off his bike.
Yeah.
Fell off the bicycle. Happens. Shit happens. Okay, let's chop up our dill.
Gosh. What's this?
You got a good joke? I
What's
believe
that?
you, Nike.
What is this?
Simon's trying to feed Posh, what, a mussel? A clam? And she just like, I don't know what this is.
She's like, no.
It's a hard pass from Doggo.
Hard pass. Bet you if I crack it open, she'd be like, oh, what's that?
Yeah. Ooh. When the knife cuts into the board. That's not good. Okay, now our cilantro, which is a green curry must happen. And then the only other thing we have to do to prep the shellfish is take the beards off the mussels. But like I said, that's one of the last things you want to do before you steam them, so they stay nice and fresh.
I've nothing here for you.
Wood shavings in the herbs, yeah. Be careful.
What's this? What's this?
Nice elephant joke. That's a good one, Nike. Really don't know how he can feed himself with that thing.
I like the elephant from last night, from the Africa episode.
Yeah, we've been watching the Africa series on Netflix, guys. Very, very well done.
They rescued an elephant in the show, and the elephant just put up his
Trunk.
trumpet, his trunk, and he's just like,
His trumpet!
he's just like, hi.
Yeah.
He just
he's
like turns
"Thank
it
you."
around. Like, hi guys, thank you.
Okay, one last choppity chop. We're finally here. Sammy, are you ready for shellfish?
Yeah.
You're medium? You're at a medium hunger level?
No, I didn't have dinner early, so.
He's primed. Kid is primed. Okay, that looks good to me. Get all that green stuff in there. That's our garnish. Ready to go. The new cam is awesome. That is great to hear, Rook. I'm glad you can tell a difference.
Wait till the last one comes in, and we go 60 frames all the way around.
Yeah, we still got one more. One more to come in. Okay, so one more monotonous task before we can cook, but I'm going to turn on our broth. Nice medium heat.
I haven't been on this task today. I stickered probably like 2,000 bags.
Holy, nice. So the clams are ready to go, so those can just be put aside. Like I said, we have to take all of the beards off of our mussels.
Not Sammy's beard though.
Yeah, not Sammy's beard.
That was already taken off once.
And I'm gonna transfer them back into something. I'll just grab another bowl. Why the heck not? Let's watch this pile disappear. Ah, Nike with the jokes. Broccoli. Hey, I look like a tree. Mushroom. Wow, I look like an umbrella. Walnut. I look exactly like a brain. Banana. Can we change the topic, please? Thank you for the food-related joke, though, Nike. So literally all you do is pull the beard off. It should come off pretty easily. Some of them can be a little bit tough. Sometimes it helps to have a cloth in your hand. And then, yeah, like other times is some of them will not have a beard at all. Just consider yourself lucky. That's a bonus one. So guys, who's excited about the giveaway? First day?
Giveaway?
Giveaway. Start the giveaway today.
How'd the powder turn out?
Oh good. I was
Yeah.
coughing. I was dying. How come I had to scrape the shells?
Have a
It's
good night,
because
guys.
they are literally
See you
dirty.
tomorrow.
Woo!
Sunday.
10 p.m. Okay, Rook. See you later. Have a wonderful next couple of days, and maybe I'll see you on Sunday. So I scrubbed the shells, J. Kims, just because of what grows on the outside of the shell. So basically, these stringy things will grow on the outside of the mussel shell, and you don't want that to kind of flavor your broth or even fall into it. So I always just scrape that off. And then mussels can also have like some barnacles and stuff on them, which is more stuff that you just don't want in your broth because it's going to be crunchy and weird. Doesn't really break down. So always a great idea to scrub them pretty well first.
Your dog is very smart, I have to say. She's like, I don't want go underneath the overhang.
So that was the timer for the bread, guys, which I'm gonna get Sammy to take out of the oven whenever he gets back in here, since my hands are all muscly. But the bread should totally be done now, and that'll give us just enough time to let it cool off before we slice into it. Yes, please.
Okay. Food's been packed.
Nice.
I want you to change the stove cam real quick. Let's see if this thing's red.
What's red? We already did the burner test and it
Is
is
it red?
Yeah.
Oh.
Let's carry on. You were in here when I did that. You must have not seen it.
I was working.
This guy. Fudging around with the settings. Literally all you have to do is take the
I
bread
know.
out of the oven, please.
Hey.
How does it look?
I didn't create that in 9 months. There's no bun in the oven.
Okay, let's see. It's hot.
No, it's
Does
cold.
it feel like it's cooked or baked all the way through? Did you tap the bottom? If it sounds hollow, guys, you're good. Sounds good. I know. Is there really anything better? Trueness. Can't wait to cut into that. So now the oven can come off. And we are almost there, my friends. Only a couple more mussels to pick.
It really is nothing better than fresh bread and cold butter. Fresh bread and cold butter.
You just smash it on there.
Yeah.
And the amount of butter equals the amount of bread.
Correct.
You're good.
You're taking 2 ounces of bread, you need 2 ounces of cold butter.
Oh my god.
Yes.
Heart attack.
How to live life properly.
Tosh, can you stop scratching?
No.
I think Doggo has developed like an anxious little scratch. Anxiety scratch as she gets older. She's been scratching her face a lot for no reason.
You need glasses.
Oh, we're almost there and then we can eat. Yes.
Yes.
Been waiting
All day.
all day for this. Whoa. See what I mean is the beard will kill the mussel when you take it out. It's literally pulling out the meat. Ooh, nice, Nike. Yeah, fresh baked brownies. I want to make some brownie cookies. We made those at work the other day for New Year's Eve. Looks so good. Okay, we did it. Oh, I like how I said that last time and then I still had a couple left over that were hiding. We didn't do it.
They're hiding on you.
Ugh. Oh yeah, fresh bagel as well. That's a good one.
I miss making bagels in the morning.
Bagels. That's gonna be another thing we'll make on stream real soon. Okay, guys. This is the moment. Let's make our way over to the stove. You can see our broth. Got a good little bubble going on there. We want it to be a nice roll and boil though. So as soon as we put the shellfish in, it's going to cool it down. So there's our bread. I know it looks pretty dark, but I also don't have a light on. That looks okay. That looks alright. So, like I said, clams going in first, since those take a little bit longer to cook. And then we'll spoon them into the bowl that we're serving in. And then we'll quickly cook the mussels. Mix those vegetables in that we chopped up. and then slice into our bread. Do this. It might be allergies. It's crazy how allergic dogs are to stuff. That's true. We have switched her food though pretty recently, and it seems to be a lot better for her. But we are thinking of switching just to straight raw. I think that would be good. Okay, clammy clams. Going in. So the bad thing about this is that we can't really see them when they open, so we're really gonna have to pay attention to what's going on in that pot. I'm gonna get handy dandy spider out. It's nice that the cam doesn't fog up. That is so true. Yeah, so far so good on the camera placement. I'll be able to actually hear the shells start to open though. They'll kind of start to pop. You can actually turn this up a little bit more as well. Ooh, you guys see that bubble? Hee. So whenever this comes back up to a simmer, we should be able to start taking out the clams. It does help a little bit more if your broth isn't cloudy though, I will say that, guys. Okay, we're coming up. There's one. Big one. You want to get them out of there really quickly so that they don't overcook. Sammy. Nike, help Sammy. So good though. You have a strong urge to dunk the loaf into the curry. Just start going for it. Yeah, clear the chamber. Okay, now we're simmering. Starting to open up. Oh yeah. Doggo is literally right here beside me. Patiently waiting. So obviously they all don't open at around the same time. Obviously some are bigger than others as well. But we're just gonna keep kind of fishing them out as they open. left in here. One. Literally just one. We'll wait a couple more seconds to see if it will open. And if it doesn't open, to be on the safe side, oh, there's actually nothing in it. So, obviously if it doesn't open, it might be empty, or it's just not good either. Okay, so now, I'm actually going to put in the tomato and the fennel, and then the mussels, just to kind of keep the vegetables up first. Let that go. Stop dropping our mussels in. Careful you don't splash the hot broth on yourself. I'm gonna wash my hands since I was touching the raw shellfish. And then we'll give that a good stir. Trying to distribute everything nicely. We're almost there, guys. You tried raw for your doggies when you were getting into purchasing about 3 to 4 chickens a week. Oh no. What was your different alternative then? Yeah, I could totally see the raw diet being really expensive. I think this broth is going to be awesome. Especially because of the shellfish, that's going to flavor it. I'm actually going to get a smaller spoon, I think. Smaller slotted spoon so we can be a little bit more discerning. Dig it around. So they're already opening up. So we're just going to start to take them out little by little. And like I said, the sooner you take them out, when they open, the more plump and juicy the mussel will end up. So if you leave them in a broth for quite a long time, they will start to dry out. But it is a good idea to try and keep them all kind of submerged. Obviously, it's going to be harder to have that happen when they start to open. So they're going to push each other out of the water or out of the broth. Now I think they're going to start to open really quickly. But look at this. Like, that looks amazing. It's exactly what we want. Three at once, yeah. Sometimes the mussel is cooked inside the shell, and you're noticing that it's not opening up. You might just have to kind of guide it open. Sometimes they get stuck. It's kind of funny. But when they get stuck, it doesn't mean that it's bad. The only time it's bad, if it doesn't open, is if it smells weird and like old fish. This is starting to look awesome though. But there's just more and more coming out of here. This is crazy. Posh, what are you doing? Doggo's digging for something. Found some sort of snack underneath the cupboard. Okay, so I think I'm gonna turn this off now. You don't want to cook the mussels too much more, especially if they're not opening. So let's take out the rest that are opened. I'll just put those other ones into a pan. Now we definitely have enough shellfish here for dinner. So I just want to get them out of this pot before they overcook too much. And then I'll open them up after the stream. Kind of knew there would be extras in here. Keep the tomato though. Whew, those are hot. And then we're just gonna finish off our broth with our garden greens and the fresh herbs that we chopped. And then we are there, guys. We're gonna pour the hot broth back over the shellfish. So it probably has cooled down a little bit while sitting there as we kind of fish through all this. But that's okay. It's okay if it sits there. As long as it doesn't overcook. I think that's the most important. Where is this last one? I saw you in there. Okay, greenery. That's just gonna wilt really quickly. Herbs. I'm gonna come back over here. Hey, Steam. How are you? Now, I'm just gonna use a ladle. One more taste, just to be sure. That's really nice. Posh, stop. That's really, really good. The curry is well balanced. It's definitely not overpowering, and the shellfish actually still pulls through. Steam, do you like mussels and clams? That's something you're into? I'm gonna give these a little mix so we can get some clams up to the top. They're all just kind of sitting underneath all the mussels. So we got some of the tomatoes in here. We have some of the fennel as well. Just gonna try one of these real quick as well. Yeah, I'm eating with my hands. You could live off clams and mussels. I feel the same. So good. Okay, now broth time. So you want to make sure that you spoon it over all of the shellfish so you can heat it back up. You don't want to put the broth all the way up to the rim of your serving device. I would say go about halfway, and that should be more than enough. Now we got little pops of green and red in there. A little bit of white from the fennel. You used to go climbing with your grandparents when you were knee-high. Oh, amazing. I've never gone clamming. Sounds like fun. Trueness, you're dying. Okay, now our bread. Move over for a sec, clams. Gotta do some slicing. Let's check this out. Nice warm loaf still. Not too hot though. It's definitely warm. So I always like to just cut right down the middle and see how I did. Hey, cloned clone. How are ya? There we go, guys. That looks really good. Ugh. Try and get the best lighting. So the crust isn't super hard, which I'm okay with. You don't need crusty bread for this, but the inside is so nice. It's like a little sponge. So good. Now you can also make the decision whether you want to toast this up further and get it crispy or eat it fresh. Obviously, I'm gonna eat it fresh. Yeah, Happy New Year, cloned clone. We can still say that. It's still the first week of January. So now I think I'm actually just going to cut it this way. Cut nice little slices. Yeah, I should cook for a living, hey, Steam? Just maybe. Sammy? Surprised you're not over here yet. When the bread is so soft that you can't even really cut through it. Oh. Smells amazing. Yeah, Rachel, when I'm not on stream, I'm actually working in a restaurant as a sous chef. 4 to 5 days a week. Okay, so now we have our nice little bread slices. Let's back this up a bit. Back it up. You already know. Nailed the crust. I think so. Yeah, the crust sounded good. It's not gonna like tear up your mouth when you go to bite into the bread. I always hate when that happens. Okay, so now you just put little pieces of bread, or we can do like a fan. Do a little fan out maybe. I was like, which side did I cut this off of? So put that back together. We'll leave that on the edge. And what I mean by fanning out is you don't really want the bread to touch the broth right away either. Otherwise it's gonna get soggy, right? So kind of keep it propped up on the edge. And you should be good to go. Careful with the broth. But that's how I would serve it, and then you just let people kind of take what they want out of there. First, I'm going to try a piece of this. The bread has really, really nice flavor. And you're right, Steam. The crust is, like, perfect. So I'm just going to take a quick photo for the gram. And then we'll taste. Gotta get that lighting just right. Okay. Aha, really pushing the limit on this broth. And that's alright. Okay, there we go. You've had plenty to eat for dinner and dessert, and I've made you hungry. Success! The tomatoes look like chilies. Well, the chilies would for sure be a really good addition to this. It could totally take that heat factor. But we already have... So I originally put bird's eye chili into the green curry mix when I first made it. So we do have that little bit of spice. But you can always spice it up a little bit more too. So, let's check out our little steamed mussel. That guy should open right up. And you can literally just use your hands to pick it out. It's seasoned really well. And then that's the other thing I really love about steaming the shellfish in a broth that's already seasoned is the shellfish actually soak up all of the flavor that you put into there. It's crazy. Just get this nice big clam. These are not small clams. They're really nice size. So the texture, slightly chewy and slightly kind of buttery as well, where it just wants to fall apart in your mouth. But there's always going to be that little chew where it comes off the shell, a little bit of mussel. The mussel literally just tastes like green curry. They work together really well, steam. Yeah, you definitely get a nice little contrast. Careful, because the broth's right there. What are you doing?
Eating?
Oh, but I need it in the frame still.
Oh. Okay. Hard to lean over it.
Okay, let's take some in your bowl then. Yeah, he's so ready. Just pulls the bowl back. Sam's here. Commence beard cam. But like, this is how the mussel should look if you cook it perfectly. It should completely, basically fill out the shell and be really nice and plump. Not all kind of soggy and dried out looking. And then if you need to, a little dip in the broth. Heat it back up.
Oh, yeah.
I love the tomato,
That's
how they're kind
so
of
good.
blistered. Is it on a salad? No, Nike. Literally, this is just shellfish and a little bit of vegetables. And broth. Yum.
These clams are amazing this time. Super full.
This is great, guys. Curry, always a good idea. Especially when it's rainy and crappy out. How's the weather over there, Steam? Definitely a meal you want to eat with your hands as well. You can't be scared of getting dirty. Nice. And so I would say for the entire meal that we made today, what did you say the shellfish was? $23?
Yeah, 23 something.
So $23 for all the shellfish, which would for sure, I would say, feed 4 people. And then let's say the bread cost $2 to make on average, because flour is really cheap. So we're at what? 25. The couple of vegetables that we used in here,
30.
let's say average 30. $30 to make this meal to feed 4 people. There's no way that you could eat this in a restaurant for that price.
$7.75 a person.
Most of the time when I go out, I think the cheapest here is on special. There's a spot that does mussels, and they actually do a red curry. That's really good at a pub. What do they do those for? $16 for a bowl of mussels, which probably has what, a pound?
Normally
no,
a
not
pound.
even.
Normally a pound.
A pound of mussels in it, but $16 for a pound. You're not all chefs like me. But that's why we're doing this together though, Rachel. So that you're not scared to make stuff like this at home. Because I went through every step that you need to do to prepare it.
It's not hard.
Go buy the ingredients. You can switch up the vegetables in the broth, no problem. And then just follow the steps that I taught you. Whether you need to watch the VOD at the same time, shouldn't be that bad. Exactly, Nike, yeah. Maybe you can get to that point if you just try.
Yeah.
And if you fail. And you learn from it. Ah, okay, Steam. So the storm is hitting you guys tonight. We've had it all day.
All day. There's so much water on the road when I was coming home. Like, I think I drove through at least 3 or 4 inches at one point.
Wow.
Like, it slowed the car down.
The dunk. This is for you, Indog. So keeping the mussels or any type of shellfish that's fresh, you need to put them in a perforated container that is gonna sit up about 2 inches from whatever the perforated container is gonna sit in. So you need a nice amount of space between the bottom where the shellfish is and the bottom of the container, so that when you put the ice over the shellfish, it can drip and melt and just fall through. And then the shellfish will not be sitting in that dirty water. Because they're still excreting stuff as they're in the ice, so you don't want them to sit in that. That's like poop water.
I was going to say it. It's like if I took a shower and pooped in the shower and just didn't clean up the shower, let Caitlin go in the shower.
Bad.
I've never pooped in the shower, though.
The ice is okay if it's just on the top layer. I've never had a bad experience with that seam. That's how we do it at the restaurant all the time. Sometimes I will put just like a nice little cloth or a napkin over the shellfish and then the ice as like a little barrier. But I haven't really noticed a difference between doing that.
You only put them on ice if you keep them for like 1 or 2 days. That way you don't kill them.
So this bread for dipping is seriously perfect because it soaks up everything and it doesn't actually fall apart.
Yeah, this is delicious. Super buttery.
You don't have to defer. There's always multiple ways of doing something, like always.
Cool.
Yeah, you can do ice and then newspaper. That could work, Trueness. Not sure about the ink leaching through though. And have you guys noticed this little head that's right over here, just sitting in the background beside me? That is Doggo. She says, guys. Did you give her a mussel or a clam yet?
I was just about to. Gentle. Gentle.
What was it, a mussel?
Mussel.
Down the hatch she goes. I guess we did all right. Doggo wants to eat it, you're good to go. Yeah, even the dog eats better than you. I'm sorry. She has a crazy palate for a dog. Like, she'll eat almost anything. And she definitely knows flavors and smells of the different food. Like, some stuff she really likes more than others.
Like, we tell her what it is every time we do it, even though she probably doesn't.
Yeah, yeah. It's like, this is a mussel. And then we give it to her. You're going to bed, Nike. Okay, man. Good night.
There, bro.
Have a wonderful night, and hopefully I'll see you Sunday morning for some brekkie. She's still there? She's hiding behind Sammy. Okay, I'm just checking belly out, guys. We're gonna wrap things up here, and I'll send you off to another cooking streamer of sorts.
Ready?
Well, we got Robin on. Haven't seen him in a while. Yucatan pork stew with ancho chilies and lime. Maybe we'll go show Robin some love, fellow Canadian. See how he's doing. It's been a while. Chef de partie.
Dealing with that storm today.
Yep. See what's up. Okay, we're going in for the raid, guys. And actually first, before I go, here are the links for the giveaway that's going on. So that's the main page. And then here's what's going on. And then I also posted in Discord about what's going down. You have lots of time though. We're not going to draw any winners until January 29th on stream. And you can only buy tickets from accruing points by watching or interacting with the stream. So it's really fair.
Is that why all my bits are gone?
And the leaderboard has been reset for the new year. So everyone has a really fair chance. So keep that in mind, guys. 3 different prizes to win this time. So 3 different winners. I'll leave you with that. Let's get ready to go into Chef. Show him some love. And let's put this back up. I hope you guys have a wonderful night. Thank you for chilling with me. Sideways cam. Go this way. Thanks for chilling the day with me and processing some shellfish and making some bread. Hopefully you learned a little bit of new stuff today. That's all I really want. Take care, guys. Thank you for everything. Thanks for the sub. And yeah, stay dry.
Stay dry, people.